What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bucco Territory, presented to you by the Foul Territory Network. I'm your host, Noah Hiles, and joining me, as always, are my wonderful co-hosts, Josh Harrison, a.k.a. J-Hay, Platinum Key, a.k.a. Mark, and once again, we got another Bucco on the show. Relief pitcher Isaac Mattson joins the program. Isaac, welcome to Bucco Territory.
Thanks for having me on. Excited to dive in.
Absolutely, man. I mean, we've had how many teammates of yours now? We've had Ryan O'Hearn, Jake Mangum, Connor Griffin was on earlier. We've got some other guys. So really glad to add you into the mix. It's been fun, obviously, covering your rise back to the big leagues over the last couple of years. We've got a lot of great questions to ask. And with that being said, I'm going to throw it to Platinum Key, who will get us started.
Hey, Isaac, thanks for hopping on. Just wanted to say real quick, you were easily one of my favorite players to watch last year on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Just absolutely electric. Your celebrations on the mound, dumping the water on your head coming out of the bullpen. I loved every moment of it, man. It was really, really exciting. And my first question I wanted to ask about is that 2025 season. You had a 2.45 ERA. Your fastball was sitting in the zone 57% of the time. Opposing batters were hitting 191 against it. Is there a specific aspect of your 2025 that you're particularly proud of?
I think honestly, just like mindset. And before we get too far, do you like Platinum? Do you like Key, Mr. Platinum?
Platinum, Key, whatever, Mark, whatever
Mr.
you feel
Platinum.
most comfortable.
Mr.
Yeah,
Platinum
Mr.
is all the
Platinum for you. Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Platinum. I'll keep it formal. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a fun season. I felt like the biggest piece for me was like that mental piece of being like a 30-year-old rookie, and no matter what the situation was, I felt like I tried to take something from that. Obviously, like the big highlights of being able to get out of jams and whatnot, like pumped to be able to help my team win. But that was the thing I appreciated the most, like looking back at it, is like just the mindset I was able to have in the midst of those tough times, and as well as the successes, and just kind of lean on those guys that have been in the big leagues for an extended period of time, because I'm still learning. Like every day I show up to the ballpark, still trying to figure out what it looks like at the big league level to be able to continue to have success.
Love it. If you could pick one player from any time in MLB history, current, passed away, anything, to face on the mound and taking that bat against you, who would you pick?
Probably go Grady Sizemore. I don't think I've ever been asked that question before. But yeah, growing up, Grady Sizemore was like my idol. I'd pretend to be him in the backyard. So that would probably be like the number one. Would love to face him, get a chance to see what my skill level looks like versus my childhood idol.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So growing up, you were a Guardians fan or Indians fan then, or?
Yeah, a little bit of a unique situation up in Erie. We kind of have the ability to.
I was gonna say here. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Right in the
2 hours
midst.
2 hours from every major city. So growing up, we didn't have cable. Coming from a big family, so I mean, it's not like a sad story, but yeah, we didn't have cable growing up, so it was just a decision our family made, and so I'd have to listen to baseball games a lot, and we would always get AM 1260 or like AM 1100. It's just like ESPN, and they'd always be broadcasting the Guardians, or back then the Indians games. So yeah, I'd fall asleep in the summers just listening to Hammy call games,
Love
and
it.
yeah, just really enjoyed Cleveland baseball, and still got down to Pittsburgh a ton. So split allegiance a little bit.
Totally get it. So going back to your 2025 season, what moment or memory has really stood out to you? Just was there a certain at bat, getting your first win after you had the runner stranded on third, anything like that? One specific moment from the season that really stands out?
Yeah, I think obviously like the first big league win sticks out to me, but I felt like that series against the Dodgers. It's not necessarily like one specific moment, but I felt like so many facets of the team were clicking in that series. And looking back at it, knowing what our goals are in 2026, there's like the expectation of like that's the level we can play at. And so to be able to do that for 3 straight games of playing really really high quality baseball, that's the kind of stuff. And obviously like getting to getting to have fun after those wins, and you know, being able to look back and know all the work that we're continuing to do. Like we have that confidence knowing we can compete against the best teams.
I love it. Yeah, I remember you like picking off Shohei, catching him in a rundown as he was breaking from third to home. Uh, Pretty cool series for sure. I love that Giants series as well too. You got the save or the win, I can't remember, in extras.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that might have also been a sweep. I
yeah,
can't
it was
remember.
a sweep.
Yes.
Yep.
And
Mm-hmm.
you know what also happened? We survived a tsunami that day.
That's
Isaac.
true.
People don't
Where-
talk
where was
about
that
that
at?
enough.
Was that in
In San
Pittsburgh?
Francisco, it didn't even hit like land, but like there was
Okay.
a tsunami warning.
I'm like,
And
oh my
I was
God.
like, I remember like asking like Pirates PR and stuff. I was like, "What's the plan if like a tsunami hits?" They're like, "There is no plan." And I
Yeah,
was
they're
like,
like flipping through the binder. Where's the tsunami protocol?
Every man for himself.
Yeah, yeah. I was texting my parents. I was like, I think I'm covering the game tomorrow. If not, I mean, watch the news. I don't know. Um, Isaac, I want to ask. I want to start by asking about something you just mentioned. You mentioned Tommy Hamilton, who I think is probably my favorite play-by-play guy. I grew up in Pittsburgh, but I have family in Ohio, so I listen to him a lot on the radio. And as someone who's interviewed a lot of ball players, I mean, you do interviews well. You seem very comfortable in interview settings on camera. Do you have any media aspirations after baseball's done?
I've never thought about it. But I don't know. I mean, I definitely don't think I could call a game as good as Hammy.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, every now and then I'll be down in the bullpen, not necessarily like locked in, but just pretending to be an announcer. So just sometimes there's games where like Mitch or Paul or I mean any number of our starters, but especially those guys where you're like, all right, I'm pretty comfortable until like the fifth inning.
mm-hmm.
So you can kind of lay back a little bit and just relax and chop it up with the boys. But every now and then I'll be like, all right, calling the games, scout report. And so I don't know. It'd be cool to be able to see what that looks like and what that experience holds. But no, I haven't really thought about it.
It'd be interesting. I always wonder like what guys, because obviously the whole crop of current baseball players are going to end up calling games one day, being like color commentators or analysts, and always kind of fun to predict who will end up in that group. Another thing I wanted to talk about, you talked about like the mentality that you worked on throughout all of 2025. Heading into that year, I mean, I'm sure you had aspirations to get to the major leagues, but there was a beginning of the portion there where you were kind of going up and down. And that's like the toughest thing I think in baseball is when you're in the majors one day and then 15 days later you're in AAA and then you got to stay there for 15 days. And, when you're going through that cycle and then you get through that cycle and you're back in the big leagues, how long does it take for you to say, okay, you know what? I might not be an up down guy anymore. And do you ever allow yourself to think that?
I mean, honestly, no. I feel like every day, especially this past season, and I mean, I think it's going to be until this foreseeable future, like until I'm done playing baseball. But I feel like every day I showed up to the ballpark in 2025, I felt like I had to show that I was one capable of doing my job at that high of a level, but also, that I could be a contributor. And I don't think there's ever a day where I have an opportunity to kind of take off, and that's something that's okay with me. Like I have other things that I'm passionate about. I have an awesome family that supports me, and obviously being a dad now, like there's that piece of it too. But like those are the things where I can kind of relax and be like, all right, that's like my human side almost, and that allows me that when I do show up to the ballpark, it's like, all right, now we're business. Now we're having to get stuff done, being able to focus on the daily process. And so I don't know. I mean, maybe when I'm 15 years into this thing, 45 years old, I'll feel like I can kick my feet up. But no, I feel like the game's always teaching you that, there's not an opportunity to, there's not a time where it's okay to kind of step back. And if that's where, I think if that's where my mind's at, that's almost like a signal to me that, hey, maybe it's time to move on from baseball.
Okay. Obviously, many have become familiar with your story just from the very beginning, and I had the opportunity to write about it. I wanted to ask, when we met in 2024, you were in Double A, right? And you were on your way back from the Frontier League, from independent ball. Um, that 2024 season, you kind of shot off like a rocket, right? It went from Altoona to Indy to the major leagues, and you put yourself like on the radar to be a big league candidate in 2025. At what point in 2024 did you kind of realize, like, hey, things are clicking in a way where they hadn't really been clicking in recent years?
Yeah, that's a great question. First off, like kudos to you. You were on the beat there in 2024. I think it was like the first day in Altoona.
Yeah.
We shook hands and you introduced yourself. So yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to share my story, my family's story like that. But yeah, I think it's easy to look at 24 from an outsider perspective and not necessarily understand like the work and what that season looked like, at least just personally for me. Um, 2024 was interesting. I felt like I had done some really good things in spring training, and the Pirates said, "Hey, we have a need in Double A. Will you go there?" And I was like, "You're my boss, so let's go to Altoona." And so that was like a little bit of a gut punch because I felt like I had put myself in a good spot, but I was like, "All right, let's just stay the course." And there got some experience in the back half of the bullpen in leverage opportunities, and was learning a ton and pitched well enough to get called up. But then that first like month in AAA, if you go back and look at the numbers, like my walks were kind of back to where they were in 22. And part of that was the ABS system, learning how to pitch in those situations where it was like back then it was the first 3 days were completely ABS. And then the second half of that series was going to be the challenge system. So that was something that really taught me and I think established that like mentality of just attack through the zone in 24. Because in May I was walking a ton of guys. So I felt like once June hit and I got comfortable with those pitching coaches. I mean, I can't say enough good things about Venice and Bayo down there in Indianapolis. Like they poured into me. They invested time and effort and energy into getting me back on track, and that was through some drill work before pretty much every game. But like being able to focus, hey, this is what I need to do better, and here's our plan. Like that was the big step in June of 24, and then kind of the success in July and August was like, okay, this is who I am when I'm at my best, and that allowed me in the last 2 weeks of 24 to go out and continue to pitch. Felt like I still learned some things, but then once 2025 hit and that continued like comfortability and familiarity came, it was like, all right, let's go, let's do this thing.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's all I got. I'm going to pass it over to Josh Harrison now. Some pirate on pirate interviewing time.
Great job, Noah and Mr. Platinum. First off, Isaac, welcome, man. Appreciate you being on the show.
Appreciate
And you have a very interesting story. And me, I draw to people who have stories like yours because I won't say my story was like yours, but at the same time, nothing was ever given to me. So hearing your story and everything that you've been through, going from indie ball to coming back to pro ball, going to double A, triple A, these things. And I hear you talk about a mentality. Mentality is very big for me, but I also heard you mention, you know, being a new father. And what a lot of people don't really realize is sometimes that gives you perspective to where I heard you say the human side of, oh, you can be, daddy, and then, you can be husband, whatever. And then when you go to the field, how much do you think that played a part in you being able to, have that mindset of saying, you know what, whatever happens here is meant to happen because, it sounds like you got a bigger understanding of the game just being baseball. It's like it allows you to do your job because you have peace off the field.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I feel like, I mean, for at least personally speaking, like faith's a huge piece of that. And just being able to know that like my calling's bigger than baseball. That's like first and foremost, I feel like adding perspective. But yeah, absolutely. The ability for me to be a dad and like just when I'm at home, it's like this is what I'm focused on. Like you can't have your one foot in, 1 foot out of the boat. As a father, and so I'm not perfect, but that's added, like you've said, that perspective to where I can be myself, and I don't have to worry about the things on the field, whether it was good or bad, and I can come home and know like the people that are closest to me, I care about them deeply, and they care about me, and we're going to do this life thing together.
Oh yeah, no. I got two daughters. They 11 and 8, and literally after every game, I'd have to come out with two Gatorade cups that had Sprite in it, and whether I went 4 for 4 or 0 for 4, it was like, "Daddy, we hopping in the car with you," and I'm trailing my wife, but those are my road dogs. So it's like, regardless of what happened on the field, it allowed me to come back the next day and say, you know what, I'm refreshed. And hearing you speak about that is something that I don't think was a accident to your success. Because with that, I feel like you learned a lot about yourself having to go through those struggles, and those up and down moments. What would you say was the biggest adjustment? You went from pro ball, then you went to indie ball. What would you say the biggest adjustment? And I don't even want to say ABS. Would it be, having to jump back in and learn a new organization and their philosophy, but also saying, you know what, I understand myself. How can your philosophy help me? Because I also played at a lot of different organizations, and sometimes you get lost in the mix of trying to explain who you are, but at the same time, finding that balance of how can we help each other help me. What would
Hmm.
you say, has that transition been, I won't say necessarily a smooth one, but like, has it been better than you've expected?
With the Pirates specifically,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say for sure. I think like the first question you asked was like what's been the adjustment? Is that right?
Yeah,
Like what?
like you went from pro
Yeah,
ball, then affiliated ball, then indie ball, and I said I know ABS, but like, was it just getting back into knowing like, okay, man, this is a little different, or is it like, oh, did you have a different mindset to say, all right, I really got to go for it? Not that you weren't before, but did something click different mentality wise?
for sure. Yeah, I think like the biggest step I took after getting released in 22 was going to indie ball, and I spoke with I think it was the fan over the weekend at Pirate Fest, but that was like that for me being able to go from affiliated where there's so many like things outside of your control that I felt like back then I was constantly thinking about, to be able to get back to baseball and like just be able to enjoy the game without the bells and whistles, without the where do I stack up in this hierarchy? Like indie ball, yeah, you're trying to get signed out of there, but like you're that's where you're at. Like you can't get called
Right.
up to other teams. So that was like refreshing for me to have that like last 2 or 3 months in 2022 to be able to just play and like not have to worry about anything else. And that's when I felt like I fell in love with the game of baseball again. And so that was a big adjustment. And then when it comes to the Pirates and like whether or not they had helped me kind of take that next step, like 100%. I felt like from day one in 2023 when I signed for the 24 season, like the baseline understanding was, hey, we have a belief in what you can do. And so from there, being able to stack on those conversations, like you said, of like, hey, what can I take from what can I take from the coaching staff and player development? What can I give them as far as what I feel like helps me? When we had that like baseline understanding of like, hey, we believe in you, and for me, hey, I believe in the process that you guys have in place, like that allowed those conversations to be a lot easier, and it wasn't really like an ego thing. It was like, hey, like we're all trying to pull in the same direction, so let's do this.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Being a bullpen guy, you probably don't know. I when I played with the Pirates, our bullpen was called the Shark Tank,
Oh,
and
I know. I'm a
we
like
had. Oh,
old
okay,
pro.
yeah. You know I was part of the Shark Tank, right?
Oh no. What game
Yeah,
did
I
you go?
mean, too many. Apparently, too many games. That's how I was a part of the Shark Tank. Had a shirt and everything. But
Oh man.
do you one thing that I loved, especially PNC coming from the bullpen, hearing how you enter, like what are the wave of emotions that go through, like because PNC Pittsburgh fans, they're really electric, especially when it's that crunch time and bullpen is coming out. Do you feel like when you come out the bullpen, I heard Mark go over, or Mr. Platinum, sorry, go over, you coming out the bullpen. Is that something that you've always done, or is that something that you just kind of developed over the past couple of years? Because I know in PNC, when you do that, I'm sure it probably gives you a little few more chills because they get pretty pumped there.
Oh, absolutely. And I definitely let myself feel the chills. I would say that. The
Got to
one thing, like,
experience it.
yeah, I love like when we walk out to the bullpen, they'll be playing the hype video before the game, and like every game I've watched, like every game I walked out, I was like, I'm gonna watch this video, because like I don't know, I love feeling that. I love the ability to play this game in front of some awesome fans, and um, like we're entertainers, we're humans, but like we're entertainers, like we're paid to give the fans something that they can cheer for and be able to play this awesome game of baseball. So it's like I kind of want to. I allowed myself to feel that, and I don't think that's going to stop. But yeah, I let myself kind of feel that, especially before the game, and then the routine going into the game. I don't know. It's developed over the years. I think in 24, I definitely started doing it in AAA, but got a good friend, Brandon Marsh, with the Phillies.
B Marsh, that's my dog. Hey,
Yeah,
we played together with the Phillies. All you gotta say, hey, that's enough. That's all you gotta say. That's my
yeah.
guy.
I played with him. I played with him in the Angels organization coming up, and that is something that he is kind of had as a staple, where he'll just dump that water on his head, and when it's ice cold,
Yep.
yeah, when
Still
it's
does
ice
it in
cold,
cold weather. Yep.
gets you going. So I got to tip my cap. That's where I got it from. But I definitely love doing it. Like those are the friendships, the memories from early on that like, all right, let's be in this together. Obviously, when we face each other, I wanna beat them, but that's like the friendship and the connection throughout baseball, and so that kind of started I think last year. And like you said, like it just kind of gets me locked in, gets me ready to go, and from there, just kind of focus on the process and being able to throw one pitch at a time, as you know, as a fellow Shark Tanker.
Oh yeah, one pitch at a time. Mine might have been coming a little slow to where it couldn't register on the radar gun. I was throwing below the hitting speed, but you know what? Hey, I was getting outs. That's the name of the game.
Out still count. Out still count.
And before we get off of here, I heard you mention that sometimes down in the bullpen that you might, kind of commentate the game or whatever. Do you have like a home run call or anything, or is it just pretty? You just kind of, pretty much basic to where that ball's hit to left because I kind of had a home run call in the dugout that the whole team loved, but and I said it everywhere. But I was curious, like, did you have anything like a home run? Like, say, somebody hits a home run on the team, and it's like, did you have a home run call, or was it just that ball's gone?
No, usually it's just like the intro, and then I'll hit like the first few batters,
Okay.
in terms of like balls and strikes, and I'll pass it off to some guys, and they'll be the color guy, and we'll go back and forth. Um, but yeah, no, usually when Cruz hits a homer, we all just kind of stand up and our jaws hit the floor. But yeah, that's no home run calls, just tons of fun as far as making myself, and I embellish it for sure. I don't think I could do it for 9 straight innings,
Oh, that's
but
tough.
yeah, a
That,
couple
that-
batters.
that's why I only had a home run call. Like somebody hit a home run, hey, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna get hyped. But in between
Yeah.
that, hey, somebody else gotta, let me bring the energy with the home run. That's why I didn't know if you had one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, not yet.
All right, well, you got time to work on it.
Hopefully, a lot
Who are
more
your broadcast
opportunities.
partners in the bullpen?
Oh man. Well, in 24 in Indy, it was Brady Feigl,
Okay.
and then I mean it's kind of whoever's sitting closest to me. We just let it rock. So Siski toward the end of the year, Evan Sisk was sitting next to me, so we go back and forth a little bit. But yeah, nothing above board, but we have some fun with it, and it lightens the mood.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Love it.
Be locked in.
Awesome.
You locked in on the game.
Josh, we're gonna have to hear that home run call on another episode. We'll
Yeah,
that's what you call it,
I got
teasing
you.
this
You know I
business.
got you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for today. On behalf of Mr. Platinum, Josh Harrison, and our guest Isaac Matson, I'm Noah Hiles. Thanking everyone who tuned in for this episode. Want to remind everyone to hit that subscribe button if you have not already. We are trying to get up to. There's Isaac Matson.
That's
He
Isaac
has a
Matson.
2.45 ERA in 2025. And,
There we go.
There's the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 3,000 subs. We're quickly making our way there, and we want to thank everyone who has played a part in all of that. So, thank you all again for tuning in, and keep tuning in to another episode coming up soon of Bucco Territory, presented by the Foul Territory Network.